Alright guys, we gotta talk a bit more about this. We gotta talk a bit more about the announcement that was made yesterday that Season 7 will be the last season for Battlefield 2042 and that basically live service will end after Season 7. So I had to let this sink in a bit because yesterday I only had time to squeeze it in alongside the news, so you guys are aware of this. But I really hadn't had the time to share my opinion about it and my thoughts and actually like my perspective. And I'm not gonna lie, it caught me a bit off guard. I personally expected a Season 8 because I always felt like from a narrative point of view, we weren't really at the end yet. It always felt like they kind of built up a narrative again over the last 3 seasons and they might want to wrap it up in a Season 8. So it still came as kind of a surprise for me that they suddenly dropped the ball on 2042. I mean, the hints were there. We had this long break between Season 5 and 6 already, the Redux events, if you remember them. Then we had this even longer and never-ending Season 6 that stretched like chewing gum. And then we had another break between Season 6 and 7, which was kind of weird already because we hadn't really had a roadmap of what was going on. Then we have this kind of content recycling Season 7. So the hints were there, the content got thinner and thinner and thinner, and then we got this drip feeding in Season 7 now, with some of the content dropping at the beginning of the season, and some of it we will see in maybe 4 weeks or something from now. We got a roadmap today, so I'm gonna talk about this in a minute. It's like we build up a narrative and then it suddenly drops without actually wrapping things up. So I would have expected a Season 8, maybe not a full one, maybe just like 6 or 8 weeks, like just half of a season, but something to wrap things up, you know? And I also feel like this is kind of a missed opportunity from DICE and from EA, because they could have come out with this announcement alongside an announcement for a kind of half Season 8 and make it like kind of join the fight of the notepads one last time in Season 8 of Battlefield 2042. Something along those lines. And make it a big announcement, make a big deal out of it. Even out of the end of the live service. I feel like this is kind of a missed opportunity and they tried to sneak this in again. And that's what I'm always criticizing on EA and also on DICE with the communication. It's just, their communication is just horrible. The tweet yesterday that we got, where they were talking about the end of the live service for 2042, but also about, how are they called, Motive Studios joining the development of the next Battlefield game. The tweet they made on the official Battlefield account was solely about Motive Studio joining the development of the next game. In the tweet there was nothing about them dropping the ball on 2042. You had to click on the link and then scroll through the blog post and then you could read that they were ending the live service after Season 7. Why would you try to sneak this in? Why are you not openly communicating it? Why are you not more transparent about this? This actually ending the live service, this is the huge announcement. Not having another studio working on the next game. That's nice to have, it's surely helpful for the development as well, but that's not the huge announcement in this moment. The huge announcement is, hey guys, it was nice the last 7 seasons, but we're ending the live support here. I hope you enjoyed it. So something like this. But not like, oh yeah, Motive Studios is joining us, and if you click on the link, you actually hear the biggest surprise. That's not how you communicate this kind of stuff, and I really hope that EA and DICE is learning about this and is learning for the next title to be more transparent and communicate this kind of stuff a lot better and more openly. Just say what you have to say and stop beating around the bush. That's so important. That was the same thing with the kick feature back in the squad management system. Say the things that are happening. They're coming in with an update. No matter if it's good news or bad news, but communicate them openly. It doesn't help if you try to sneak it in. The backlash will be even bigger. So that's just one thing that I always have to criticize. It just really pisses me off that people are not openly talking about things. However, this whole thing also again feels a bit like Battlefield 5. Back then when they dropped the ball on this one, they turned this game around, they made it enjoyable, and then they suddenly drop it. I mean, I do understand that they have to end it at some point. Like I said before, the hints were there as well for 2042, but it still feels like Battlefield 5 as well as 2042, both games never really lived up to their full potential. And talking about 2042, we had Hazard Zone that was dropped far too early and never lived up to its full potential, and it had potential. We had Portal that did not at all live up to its full potential. It was teased as this creative hub for people to make their own experiences, to share them with others, to hold community events, stuff like that, to be creative. And it ended up as a playground for XP farming and a few hardcore servers. That's it. That's the huge love letter to the fans. And there was nothing of the creativity that was teased back then. And we didn't get any other old eras. Battlefield as a whole, as a franchise, has so many good maps. Battlefield 2 maps, Battlefield 4 maps, Battlefield 1 maps. So many good maps. And they only brought in 6 of them. And when the game launched, I had expected them to bring a lot more. Maybe there was more planned and they needed the resources to fix the game. We all know what happened. But man, there was such a missed opportunity. Portal, it's such a shame that it kinda went like this for this part of the game. I mean, the game gave us some good memes, talking about the cringy voice lines and the physics-defying mechanics we had when the game launched, like takedowns being done in mid-air or hovercrafts going up the wall, stuff like that. It was kind of hilarious. It was a bit sad as well. It was also hilarious. For me personally, it helped me to grow this channel, and I won't lie, I mean, I'm enjoying the game. I still do. I enjoyed it most of the time, not all the time, of course, but most of the time. But this ending right here, dropping the ball so sudden, it leaves me with that feeling again, with that bittersweet taste of DICE not bringing something to a real ending and not wrapping things up properly. Anyways, I was talking about the roadmap before, so we're gonna go through this as well real quick. It's not that much, but it's at least something. So we still have 10 more weeks to go in Season 7, and on April 16, which is Tuesday next week, we will receive update 7.1. We don't know what changes will be part of this yet, but I assume we will get the patch notes on Friday as usual, so keep your eyes peeled for a video on the patch notes. And alongside this update, we will see the first time-limited event, which is called Crimson Front. We don't know what to expect from it yet. I think it's gonna be a 2-week event again. Then on April 30th, we will get the Stadium map, not as part of update 7.2, because update 7.2 will come in mid-May, and this will also bring the Draugr, the new bomber, to the game, and the DFR Strife, the new LMG. So the Stadium comes a little bit earlier. April 30th, about 3 weeks from now. And then in May to June, somewhere around this time, we will see another time-limited event, which is called Future Strike. We don't know anything about it yet. Probably another 2-week event, bringing some new cosmetics. Surely not new content, but new cosmetics, maybe a new game mode. And that was it for Battlefield 2042. And that was it for Season 7. And then we also still have 10 weeks of weekly missions, a battle pass to complete, and the last possible Tier 1 badge, at least of a season, for this game. And that's so far the positive side. I mean, they also promised more updates in the future, more in-game challenges, more events to come, even after the end of Season 7, and more modes, whatever there will be. But I gotta be honest, I'm not expecting too much from this anymore. The events might not be interesting for a lot of players, since the mid-season events already didn't grab too many of them, and the modes will surely just mean that we get a rotation like we have now, that modes change every week in All Out War and in Portal. And as for the in-game challenges, I can imagine we might see something similar to the weekly missions we had in the preseason, where we had these 3 or up to 5 weekly missions, and when you completed all of them, you got a single cosmetic item. Or maybe we will see some Battlefield coins like it is in Battlefield 5. When you complete all of the missions, you can get like, I think it is 100 Battlefield coins or something. So something along those lines. I don't think there is much more to it. So I wouldn't expect much from this, but it might at least be a little something to keep the ones engaged that stick to the game. However, I think the wider player base of 2042 will move on to other titles, maybe new games from competitors, maybe old Battlefield titles like Battlefield 4, maybe Battlefield 1. Most of them will surely go back to Battlefield 5, but I doubt they will stay on 2042. That probably also explains why EA was suddenly so eager to add a anti-cheat system to Battlefield 5, because they knew that players would not stick with 2042 and will move on to other titles, but they also want the players to stay within the franchise. So they were like, hey look, we give you something for this old game so you can stay there. So they made Battlefield 5 a bit more attractive, and it's probably a good move for everyone. Still, it's a very long time to go without a new Battlefield or new content to a Battlefield game, and if the next one releases in 2025, that's more than 1.5 years from now. And we know that there is some competition coming up with XDefiant, for example. I'm not sure if this is really something Battlefield players are looking forward to, but it might be interesting for shooter players in general. And we also have Delta Force that will go free to play, and there might be a lot more interesting for Battlefield players. So the next Battlefield really needs to deliver to get all these players back into the franchise. And they really have to get everything right from the start and not just 2 or 3 years later. They have to win back those players and deliver a game that really stands up to the name Battlefield and to the identity of this franchise. Will they be able to deliver this kind of game? We will see. I mean, with Motive Studio joining the development, there are again 4 studios working on the next game after Ridgeline Studios was terminated. So there's DICE, Ripple Effect, Criterion, and Motive now, and all of these studios have a lot of experience in creating successful games. Let's hope they use this experience to create a successful Battlefield game this time. As for the future of this channel here, there's not so much changing right now. I will, of course, keep going with the content for 2042 as long as there is content for 2042. I will keep on doing the news videos, go through the updates, do some other stuff as well. It will keep the focus on 2042 for now. After this, I will do some more general Battlefield content, still keep covering 2042 when necessary, and also include some other games that might be interesting for me to play, might be interesting for you as well. Let's see, I don't know about them yet, but there is some stuff coming up that might be interesting. And then there are also, of course, the streams that I will keep doing. So I won't give up on the channel. I will not take a 1-year break after Season 7 or something like this. I will keep going, just with a little less videos specifically on 2042. And that was it for today. A lot to talk about, and a bit different video today with the camera and with the non-scripted stuff. Tell me in the comments below if you like this or not. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Thanks to my members for the additional support. Until then, I'm the Catwoman, and you are awesome.